Here we are.
Here we are.
Nothing like I had a really good shower this morning.
Yeah?
Yeah, I didn't end up showering after the airport yesterday, and I usually do.
Yeah.
I got back like a little too late, and then when coached Alyssa's game, and I just didn't get around to doing it. And then I had it today, and I feel so much better.
Yeah, a good shower.
Post-airport
really like
shower is like you just can't beat it. And I feel like so much. I came back to life. I shaved. I'm alive.
Even after coaching, you didn't shower in?
I'm not sweating that much coaching.
I guess like the getting off the plane, then going outside again, coaching activity, and then
I was mostly just very tired. I should have showered. Let's be clear. But I showered in the morning, and then flew,
Fucking
and then
disgust me, man.
I wasn't. Look, I didn't feel great. I was like too tired to do anything. But now I'm good. I'm locked in.
Did that
excited
impact
to be
your
here.
coaching performance? Your fatigue?
I thought it was a pretty good. We lost the game, but I thought it was I was happy with our team's performance and my performance. Couple shots we wish we had back. Couple layups that should have gone. We came back
Sounds like
from down.
excuses to me.
Came back from down 8, and with some ball pressure, which felt really good. Alyssa had a couple steals.
No one ever gives you credit for coming back from down 8.
That's true. You're right.
They got to
You're
tell
so
the
right.
whole story.
I get it. No, we were I think we were 5-1 going in, so it was like a little bit due for a loss. We were missing all of our bigs were either sick or out of town, so I wasn't too upset with it. Other team hit a couple really tough shots, but also the ref did on the shot to tie it, the foul shot to tie it. The ref, it went in, and the ref said like no basket. This person like left early, and I was like, but it's our team, and the shot went in. Just like let it go, dude. There's 18 seconds left. So that was dumb. But he had already like screamed at the other guy, so I didn't say anything. I just sort of like looked down and was upset. But it's all right. Regular season, doing good, learning experiences, all that good stuff. You guys are here to listen to this podcast, right? This is the one?
Yeah.
Rec League basketball podcast? Coaching?
Let's do the other podcast for now. Well, who would have known? If Monday had gone differently, this might have been a Rec League podcast. You don't know.
Yeah.
The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. Sign up for DraftKings Sportsbook by using promo code RTRS. Brought to you by Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. Briggs Auction, the official auction of the process at briggsauction.com. And Ethos Support, your customer support should not suck. Let Ethos Support help you with that at ethossupport.com/Ricky, as well as Surfside, iced tea, and vodka. Oh, yeah, 2 grams of sugar, only 100 calories, and no carbonation because iced tea shouldn't have bubbles. Well, on the show today, we're back. I think
we're back.
We are so back.
We're as back as anyone could be.
We're so back, like reborn. The Sixers have the 3rd pick in the NBA draft. The lottery party was a success, and we have big boards and fucking trades and what a gift. What a gift. What a
Beautiful.
gift. Speaking of gifts, boy, wouldn't a lottery party t-shirt be an excellent gift for the loved one in your life who wasn't able to go or forgot to get one while you were there? We do have some leftover merch. We have the lottery party shirt. We have the I Saw the Sixers Lose shirt, which is excellent if you get the reference. And have a few hoodies left, and as well as a few autographed posters. Our friends at Scheib Vintage Sports is selling it. Just go to scheibsports.com and search Sanchez, or go to the link in the description of this podcast. We won't make any of them again, except for the hoodie, which we'll probably keep making because people seem to like it, and we didn't make enough of them. But the lottery party shirt, the I Saw the Sixers Lose, the poster, that is all what we made, and that'll be it. Surfside, iced tea, and vodka. When you're watching the Phillies and Aaron Nola get shelled, it's always better to sit there and do it with a Surfside. It's not quite as painful. 9-7 as we talk, and we used all the good relievers in the first game. Dude can't even get his 5 or 6 innings. All that said, Surfside is excellent. I was at the Surfside Invitational golf tournament on Tuesday. Since I don't play golf, I was just handing out Surfsides to people. I was very good at it. I was like, ooh, here's a lemonade and vodka. They took whatever I gave them. They have a lot of great varieties. Iced tea and vodka, iced tea, lemonade and vodka. I saw a mango tea and vodka, raspberry tea. Go to statesidevodka.com to learn more. Get it wherever you get your canned cocktails. You got to be 21. Please enjoy it responsibly. Without any further ado, I'm missing the chef.
Larry, sweetie, the man is here. Say the name. I say the name. I say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We was right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. Say the name. We were right, y'all. We were right. Even when it went wrong, we were right. We were right, y'all. We were right. So say the name. 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 I say the name. I say the name. Say the name.
Likes Tricky Sanchez forever.
Welcome to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast. I'm Spike Eskin, along with a guy that is not only back, he is clean and back. That is one Mike Levin.
Squeaky clean, baby. Number 3 pick. Feeling so good. Feeling
So
very
good.
alive. The lottery party was fun. Anytime I see clips from afterwards, I feel embarrassed by the way I look or act or say anything. I just want to issue an apology to everyone in the world for looking like a Dorcas tech CEO as I'm jumping up and down when we got the pick. Just pure unbridled joy. And I see the clips on Instagram and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man. Like, this is not what a grown-up should be doing. But that's how we feel.
But there were a lot
we
of
felt very
grown-ups
excited.
there.
A lot of grown-ups there doing it.
The
It
same
felt
thing.
better, I think, to be in the crowd than it did for me to be like running around jumping into Ike Reese's arms. But it was cool and it was great in the moment, and it's embarrassing after the fact, and that's just what it's like to be a fan of anything. But I feel really good. I feel very happy. I feel happy for the people that came to the party, people that tuned out this season, everything. We did deserve it. We did rig it. We didn't rig it as much as the Mavs rigged it, but we did rig it pretty good. What a good time. What a good day.
If you were at the lottery party in Live Ricky 6, or if you were, Monday night, we're going to YouTube live premiere the lottery party in Live Ricky 5. So, and we'll have everything in there. So the actual lottery portion of it, which the clips online are truly outrageous. Val, my wife, was in her car with the door closed in the parking lot and said she heard it in her car from outside of Franklin Music Hall. So thanks to MortgageCS, we will replay the whole thing on Monday night. So you mentioned rigging it, and we'll give you the time. I actually want to see the basketball playoff schedule before we say the time, but it'll be Monday night. Subscribe to Ricky YouTube if you haven't. You mentioned rigging it. So, like, I think it's obviously when the Mavericks trade Luka and get it with a 1.8% chance of getting the number 1 pick, everyone's going to say that it is rigged. Whether they actually believe it or not, it is fun to say it is rigged. And I have found it very funny that the small group of NBA reporters who are fighting against the people that are saying it is rigged. One of my favorite ones came from Nate Jones, who is an agent and generally a pretty smart and reasonable guy. And his tweet said, put it up there, if you believe in a draft lottery conspiracy, you're accusing Ernst & Young of actively participating in fraud. It's like, oh no.
No.
Couldn't possibly.
No one has ever done fraud.
Yes.
Accountants? Bad?
Frauding people? No.
No one's ever defrauded or been defrauded. This would be the first time. It's the first time hearing of it.
The thing about it is, if you put a gun to my head and you said, you have to be right about this or you're going to get shot, is it rigged?
Sure.
I would say no. But
Probably, sure, yeah.
But it's still very fun when this happens
Yeah, come on.
to say this is rigged.
Let's
Come
just say it's fucking
on.
rigged. Fuck
Just say
this.
it's rigged.
I mean, I guess best case scenario is Nico still gets fired for falling ass backwards into this shit.
Sure.
But whatever. They don't deserve it. They got it. Plenty of people that don't deserve shit get shit every day. That sucks.
Yes. And look, we deserved going into it. All we wanted to do was keep the pick. And we ended up with number 3, which is outrageous. Like we got to the commercial, which is outrageous. Kevin
Always
Nagandi
do.
tried to fuck us on that, which we'll get to
We
later.
said no.
But
Finally, the Professor Jack Kevin Nagandi rivalry is on in earnest.
well, I think Professor Jack's thing was actually legitimately valuable, to be honest with
Very
you.
valuable, very successful. I think Professor Jack, Coach Tom,
Yep.
Coach Tom, who was holding up the signs of what it was. I think that was super helpful. The main thing we knew is 7, 8, 9. If we don't
No
see
OKC.
Oklahoma City, then we're in good shape.
Yep. And
We're
we
in
didn't.
really good shape. And once we knew, I mean, it happened so fast, so it was hard to do all this in the moment. But basically, 7, 8, 9, you don't see Oklahoma City good shape. Felt good. I didn't realize at the time that once it wasn't OKC at 7, it could
knew
not
it
have
wasn't
been the
6.
Sixers at 6. They
Right.
had to have jumped because
Yes.
2 teams jumped them. So they had to
Yes.
jump as well. Otherwise, it would have been falling from 5 to 7. And we found out since then, since 1 and 2 are pulled first in the lottery room itself, and you find out Ned Cohen, who is a Sixers representative, knew that if the Sixers don't get pulled for 3 or 4, they would have lost the pick. In
Right.
that moment, there was a very small % chance of keeping the pick. They had to pull a 3 or a 4, and they did.
We
And here
pulled
we are.
it.
We pulled
We
it, baby.
pulled it. So
That's it.
the next month is going to be fun and crazy. So there's like, I would say this from the top. I think Maury's draft history is good, but when you look at it, you see that the truth is that he actually just doesn't make a ton of picks because he likes trading his picks for players that he already know are good. And I think there's a chance that they stay at 3 and pick a player, and we will go through all of that scenario. We will do your 2 paths podcast,
Yes.
the one where Joel is healthy and not healthy. I
Because
would say
it truly is such a big change for those paths.
oh, it's insanely big.
Yeah.
and it's what makes it's what makes the decision of what to do with 3 so difficult.
Yes.
Because I would say that if I don't want to do that podcast now, I think Daryl Morey will do whatever he can to get the most possible value out of that 3 pick. So I think he will explore every trade.
Yes.
I believe, whether it is to get more draft picks or a player in a pick or just a player, whatever it is, I think he will do that. And regardless of what he said on our podcast, I think he will listen to trades for every single player on the roster. And that's how he's always been. And I think it would be weird if he wasn't that way, given the situation. But so at 3, I always feel like we're going to have to like separate whether when we see trade rumors, we'll evaluate the trade rumor. But I think for a lot of it, we'll have to talk about what you would want if they're at 3. I started my YouTube scouting already. I have not settled on who I want at 3 if they take it 3. It does seem like the conversation has very quickly evolved into Ace Bailey or not Ace Bailey.
Yeah.
It is sort of what it feels like. Does that seem the same to you?
Yeah, I mean, Ace has the highest name ID for anybody. I mean, the fact that he was a big time prospect coming in, the fact that both him and Dylan Harper went to Rutgers together, and we're revolutionizing. It's like we're coming in together. We're the teammates. It's going to be great, and they just weren't as successful. Harper had a nagging injury all year, and Bailey was they weren't a very good team. The team didn't do a good job surrounding them. Like if I had done it, I would have gotten a ton of people in the portal, a ton of just like veteran guards that can play, bigs that can do regular stuff, like just be normal, be as completely normal as possible. And they sort of just like didn't succeed at that. And so they didn't make the tournament. And so I understand, as people have said, why you're like, all right, they have the 2nd and the 3rd pick in the draft, and Rutgers doesn't make the tournament even.
Yeah.
And
by the way,
are those guys not good?
We had Phil Martelli on the radio show the other day, and he was like, "Hey, that's kind of weird." Like
it's a reasonable position to have, especially
Yes.
does it indicate something? Does it indicate like yes, they're talented, but a lack of like winning mentality or like winning traits? You look at Ben
Especially-
Simmons, LSU didn't make the tournament. You look at Markelle Fultz, Washington didn't make the tournament. Now I could look at both of those teams and say like, yeah, those teams just like weren't that good. But as the best player on that team, if you are a superstar type player, which we now know that Markelle for several reasons and for Ben for a different kind of several reasons, are not. Can you consider yourself to be a superstar if you can't like at least make the NCAA tournament as a 10 seed or something? It's worth thinking about. I mean, Harper had injury all year. Ace is very raw. I understand it, but like it's a factor. It's something to think about.
Have you? I don't want to ask you for sure because I want to do the show where we say what it is.
Okay.
Are you deciding at 3 between? Let's take the trades out of it. Do you know who you would want at 3, or are you deciding between a few different guys at 3?
Currently,
Yeah.
if you asked me and you did, and I fumfered, as I am prone to do.
Yeah.
But if you ask me right now, you have to take someone at 3. You cannot trade down. You have to take someone at 3. Right now, as of this moment, and I want to keep watching tape and I want to keep thinking about it. And I want to I do think that there's a version of the Embiid is healthy podcast and then the Embiid is never healthy podcast that would change things, which we don't have access to, but we will do those shows.
Yep.
I would say right now, independent of those things, you want a star. I think the player at 3 that has the highest star power for me is Tre Johnson out of Texas.
Oh, I'll tell you in a second because I'll tell you who I've started looking at, but he's an interesting one. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. It was nice to see Kornblau sitting up front.
Yes.
Nice to see so many of our sponsors sitting up front at live Ricky.
Big smiles out of those folks.
Oh my God. Can you imagine just you're like, I tell people I advertise on this dumb podcast and they think it's bullshit, but I'm here tonight. This is not bullshit.
Big
This
stuff.
is for real.
Big stuff.
Speaking of Kornblau and Kornblau, or speaking of being for real, Kornblau and Kornblau for real. Adam Kornblau. Personal injury, number 1. Slip and fall, injured at work, medical malpractice, 40 years of history of the law firm. Kornblau just obsessed with winning and actually very, very good at this. And when you reach out to him, when you reach out to Kornblau, you're actually going to get him. You're not hearing an ad for a place that is just going to, refer you to somebody else, which is what a lot of the personal injury law firms you hear from are. That is not Kornblau Kornblau. Truly obsessed with it. And yes, personal injury will come to your house, has offices all over the Delaware Valley, whatever you need, he will do. But I have found out in the last year or two, based on times that I've approached him, based on emails from Ricky listeners, based on stories that he's told me, it's like, whatever your legal thing is, I would go to him first. Because there is a chance, A, he's going to be obsessed with it and want to do it. But B, he will be able to guide you to the right place. Personal injury lawsuits, having been through one when my wife, when I hit my headphones out of my ear, when my wife and I were rear-ended years ago, I think it was 12 years ago, by a drunk driver who was also on PCP. Personal injury lawsuits are very long, very complicated, very annoying, and having somebody in your corner who is going to take on all of that and translate it for you and make sure you feel confident and get the right result, it means the world. If you think you have a case, give them a call or shoot them an email, 215-576-7200. Doesn't cost you anything. Ask for Adam or email Kornblau, Kornblau, at kornblauandkornblau.com. Kornblau and Kornblau, the official law firm of the process. I think it's interesting you like Tre Johnson. Tre Johnson, in my YouTube scouting, feels maybe a little more Spike guy than Mike guy in that he feels bucket gettery to me. Now,
For sure.
Not Isaiah Cannon bucket gettery, but a fucking awesome shooter.
Well, let me describe him a little bit. So Tre Johnson he's 6'6" with a 6'10" wingspan. He was a freshman at Texas, had the best freshman season at Texas since Kevin Durant. And he is an incredible shooter. And both off the catch, off the dribble, he shot 40% from 3 on almost 7 attempts a game. He got to the line over 4 times a game. He shot 87% from the line, averaged 20 points a night. was the guy on a pretty mediocre to bad Texas team. And I like how much he moves. He really moves without the ball. He cuts. He has the size to be a serviceable defender, or a better than serviceable defender, even though he's not right now.
He's pretty slight physically.
He's definitely slight. He's got to fill out like he's a freshman. This would be this is my pick in the like, you want to take someone that has the most star power. You're not worried about fit as much. You're not worried about like, will they contribute right away, whatever. I do think he has at his floor, he is pretty long for a 2 or a 3, and he's going to be an excellent shooter in the NBA at minimum. Now also the bucket gettery part is he can hit really tough shots off the dribble. He can get his shot up. He shoots it high. He hits a ton of different shots. Yeah. So he's very talented. The reason why I like him, but he's absolutely young, slight, didn't play a ton of defense at Texas. And you want to go like, can he be a little bit more of a creator if he's a number one option guy? The reports are he did do a lot more creating for teammates in high school. It's hard to look at. The thing that scouts see and the thing that more like hyper focused draft guys and organizations see is like, it's not just what the 30 some games they played in college, sometimes less. It's also like EYBL, different high school, AIU, all that stuff. How much do you get to see? So, the book on him is how he was a big time recruit coming in, and he performed and he was really great. Go for it. I
haven't decided yet. So I've watched Edgecombe, I've watched Ace Bailey, I've watched Tre Johnson, I've watched who's the guy that Olinger likes, Derek Queen.
Derek Queen, yeah.
Daryl Queen, I watched him too. So I haven't settled yet, but I would say that the point that you make about not just looking at college and college stats is important, because when you look at Ace Bailey, for example, and you look at his free throw shooting, you'll look and you'll see, well, he's not a good free throw shooter. But then you look at high school and you're like, oh, well, 1 year of college basketball is not the greatest sample size, both when a percentage is too low or too high. I'm thinking of one guy in maybe our second draft that shot 40% from 3, and you could just tell by watching him that he wasn't a 40% three-point shooter. All that is to say, when these guys are only playing 1 year of college, sometimes it's difficult to look at their shooting percentages and really figure out what they mean, I think.
Yeah, certainly part of it. I was wondering if you were talking about KJ McDaniels, but no, he didn't shoot.
No. It was a guy we did, maybe a guy from Kentucky that we didn't draft.
Oh, didn't draft. Okay.
Yeah, didn't draft. He was a top 5 pick. Anyway, but I have liked watching Ace Bailey YouTube. I have liked watching Edgecombe YouTube, and I have liked watching Tre Johnson YouTube so far.
I'm pretty ready to say that I'm not an Ace Bailey guy. I'm going to keep watching, going to keep thinking about it, going to keep reading what other people say, but he measured in at 6'7.5". He's been listed at 6'9" and 6'10", 6'7",
which is a very big difference, by the way.
A big difference for that kind of player.
Yep.
But he's long. He plays more physical than his size. He is a good help defender, and he can certainly get hot and make a bunch of tough shots, like Michael Porter Jr. I guess if you could say like Jason Tatum. He described himself as like a Jason Tatum, Paul George type today, I think. But he had a super low assist rate for a player with such high usage. He really can't dribble very well.
No.
I think he has a very slow first step. He does a like jab step and then rise up type thing, which when you're Kevin Durant, nothing anybody can do about it. You can shoot it so high, it's all good. But when you're 6'7", that's not going to fly when you're not being guarded by like in college it was like 6'3", 6'4" guys that could keep up with him speed-wise, and he couldn't get by them, so he just shot over them. Or like bigger dudes that could make his shot a little tougher, but are not close to NBA athletes' lateral speed. I don't think he's going to really get by anybody off the dribble, especially with his weak handle. I don't think his first step is that good. And when you look at him and you go like, well, he hits a lot of tough shots, so that's cool. But he doesn't. His college shooting numbers are bad. This is per Kyle Neubeck, but and also just the statistics. But he shot 34.6% on threes. He did shoot, as you said, under 70% on free throws. He shot 24% on pull-up threes, and he shot 36% on pull-up twos. He doesn't finish well around the rim. The shot looks pretty, sure.
Yeah.
But like he's just not, and he can get hot for sure. But I think he's gonna be fine on the defensive end, but not spectacular. And offensively, I'm kind of just looking and just is he gonna be able to be like a catch and shoot guy? Sure, but I'm not excited about him at 3. And I think someone will fall in love with what it looks like and how beautiful the jumper looks, but it's not gonna be me.
Yeah, I think so. When you're talking about the difference between 6'7" and 6'9", is the difference between almost like taking a lot of tough shots because you can't get open.
Yeah.
It is sort of like when, and he is one guy, as I've learned over the years, okay, you watch his YouTube highlights and they're pretty spectacular. He's a good athlete and he's so skinny that you almost think he's 6'9" and you think of Kevin Durant or whatever. But when you watch more of it, it looks more like a guy who's trying to be Rudy Gay than Kevin Durant, to be honest with you.
For sure.
And like,
for sure, comp.
Yeah, and by the way, Rudy Gay is a good basketball player, but Rudy Gay was basically the best version of what he could have been, and the Grizzlies were better when he wasn't on the team. So,
I think he's somewhere between Michael Porter Jr. and Rudy Gay.
Now,
but he's
Michael
not
Porter Jr.
right now.
An outrageous shooter, which he is not yet.
Right now, he has to work to get to that point. But like guys that don't really crave for others, don't really do much off the dribble, and he hasn't performed. So, to me, my general thing, and I've said this on the podcast.
Is there any chance that he goes 2?
I think there's absolutely a chance that he goes 2. If it's I think there are people that are going to fall in love with him for sure.
And then you take
Absolutely.
Derek Harper at 3. Okay.
Dylan Harper. I would be excited to take Dylan Harper.
Yes.
If Dylan Harper
Derek
falls
Harper played
to
on the
3.
Knicks. Yes.
Yes. And Ron Harper is Dylan Harper's dad.
Correct. Of the
if
Bulls.
Dylan Harper falls 2-3, you take Dylan Harper. He's really, really good. He's extremely physical as a big guard. He's going to be able to guard multiple positions. He's so smooth. He's so balanced. Special vision. Like, really just an incredible package. I think I would be totally comfortable taking him number 1 overall in most drafts. Not this draft, but I'd be totally comfortable doing that. I think odds are he's not going to, but maybe the Spurs trade their pick to in a Giannis package, and maybe the Bucks decide that like they like having long, skinny dudes, and this is our guy. We can make it happen with him. I don't know. Maybe somebody doesn't like Dylan Harper. It happens. I would not be shocked if that happened. I'd obviously shocked if Cooper Flag doesn't go 1, but I do think there's a chance that somebody falls in love with Bailey. My general thing on this draft is that it is a 2-player draft. I think to me,
yes.
I think there are a lot of really good players, but if we're talking superstar, franchise-changing guys, right now I don't see that. I'm sure there will be. I'm sure there always is. Jokic was picked in the second round, Giannis, whatever. Somebody's going to get great, and it's going to be like, how did this guy fall? Because it happens every year. But there's not a guy that I go, absolutely, this guy is a number 1 option type player. He's going to be a top 15 player in the league outside of Flag and Harper. So I really, really very much want to trade down. I feel very strongly about that. I like the 6 to 12 range in this draft. There are reasons why you could be excited about guys, and there's reasons to think that why those guys won't work. Some of those are the jump shot. Some of those is defense. Some of that is like flexibility off the dribble, finishing at the rim, all that kind of stuff. But there's guys I like. I'm not willing to take any of them at 3 unless nobody makes an offer. And I think someone's going to fall in love and make an offer. So I would very much want to trade down into that 6 to 12 range, pick up an asset, a young wing, something like, we talked about this lottery party, but Tari Eason, me and MOC were texting about it, and then he wrote about it on the site. Tari Eason, Jabari Smith, Herb Jones, Tumani Kamara, something like that. That could like provably play the 4 on this team, and then also draft a guy. Pick the guy you want, 6 to 12. There's a number of them I like. Derek Queen being one of them. Colin Murray Boyles being another one. maybe even Tre Johnson if he falls to 6 or 7 or 8. And then I want to pay that guy less money than the like 11 million. That would be the how much a third overall pick gets.
And make it easier to re-sign.
And make it easier to re-sign those guys. Now you don't want to do that if you truly believe that one of those guys at 3 is a star. If the Sixers believe that, they should take that guy. I don't think that any of those players are star level players, and I want to use the leverage of having 3, which Daryl is doing, by the way. Daryl and Nick Nurse are going around saying pretty openly, we like 3. We love 3. There are 3 good players in this draft class. We're ready to do it.
One of them will be there. We know one of the guys we love will be there. Blah, blah,
If
blah,
the draft was today, I already have it written down. I can just hand them the paper. This is who we want. One of these 2 guys. I think they are being smart about what they're doing, and I think they are lying. I don't think that they think there is some person that they're like dying to take at 3 if it goes flag Harper 1-2. I think that they are trying to, as they should, raise the price of, hey, if you want to come get 3, oh, we really love 3, dude. Oh man, we love it. You're just gonna have to make a Godfather offer to it.
We'd rather
You're
have
really
3
gonna
than
have to.
1, to be honest.
I prefer 3 than 1. Oh, it's a bigger number. First of all,
Yep. 3's more
pick
than
swap
1.
back.
Everybody knows that.
So
I'm the guy that decided 3 was more than 2. How do I not know 3 that more is more than
Yes,
1?
he is. Yes, if 3's more than 2, then it's way more than 1. I think that they're doing the right thing. I do think someone will come calling. The interesting thing about Daryl is how like superstar dependent he is, right? Or superstar prioritizing, let's say. And I completely appreciate and respect that. And I understand why someone would go, well, he has never had a pick this high. This is the first time he's getting the opportunity to pick someone this high. You get your superstars at the top of the draft. That's why Hinkie tanked. That's why we got Embiid. Go get another superstar. But you can't go superstar hunting if there's not a superstar there. And I believe outside of the top 2, there isn't a superstar. And so I would trade down and get somebody that could help them now and in the future. I'm not saying trade down for like a guy that's 35 years old or something like that. I want to get another helpful young player from a team that feels like they need someone at 3, that they'd be willing to give it to us. And everything Daryl and Nick are saying is right. But I hope come draft night, they've moved that pick to trade down to get more assets, to have a little bit more flexibility. There's a ton of possibilities. On the plane yesterday, I'm texting MOC and Sixers Adam like 15 trade down possibilities. I'm like, there's a lot. And you could and you could do a non-trade down, like you mentioned, which is like, what does 3 and Paul George get us?
Right.
Does that get you Franz Wagner?
Yeah.
I don't know. Does that get you Trey Murphy?
Right.
Like what do you want? What do you want?
Or
with
do
that?
they trade up to 2?
Or do they trade up to 2, which would be really interesting. I'd be surprised by it, but that would be interesting.
Well,
so yeah,
we got. I don't want to read the whole email, but we got an email from Jack who was saying what a great lottery party it was, but he's having trouble getting excited because it's very hard to figure out what they should do unless they know what their path is.
Yeah.
And that's a fair point, because what I would say is I understand all your reasons for trading down.
Yeah.
But I also would say if my path was no Joel Embiid, I would just fucking take whoever the best player is at 3.
For sure.
Because like they might not have as much a superstar potential as you would like, but still they're going to have more superstar potential than who you're going to get at 10.
Yeah.
And you would take a big swing, but not knowing the answer makes this really hard. It makes it interesting.
Yeah.
And I also think it makes it very difficult.
Not knowing the answer about Joel, I do think no matter what, they should take, whether it's at 3 or at 6, they should take the guy that they think is the best player.
Oh, sure,
I think
sure.
I would probably rule small guards out of it. So I wouldn't be looking at like Jeremiah Fears, even though I think he's going to be a nice player.
Right.
But I probably just wouldn't go there, because you already have 2 of those guys that you like. That's going to be diminishing returns. We saw what happened when the Sixers took 3 straight centers.
Yep.
Like there's a limit to like best player available.
Yep.
If you're just like not setting up a situation for them to succeed. But we can go. I like VJ Edgecombe. I love this kind of player. This is the kind of player I tend to really love. He's
awesome.
a straight up like unconscious athlete both in workouts and on the court, as a 6'5" guard that defends his ass off. And he's a worker. He's got high intangibles. He competes like hell on defense. I don't think can do much off the dribble. I don't think he's that good of a shooter, and he doesn't have great touch around the rim. I think he's going to be a real special guard defender in like a Drew Holiday mold, but I do think he's going to be a role player offensively in the kind of Quentin Grimes, Josh Green type of way.
Well, he's a little Oladipo-y.
Oladipo, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think he's as good of a ball handler as Oladipo was.
Yeah, just similar in terms of the projection, I think, or when I'm watching.
I think a good player. I think he's gonna, I don't think he's gonna be a bust, but I just don't think he's gonna be a star.
Very high floor, I think, when you're watching him, and the athleticism, and like you can tell those guys that. I used to say this and I'm sure I will again when I do YouTube Big Board. I just look at a guy who's like, oh, he's an NBA player. Like I think you watch Edgecombe and you're like, oh, he's an NBA player.
Totally.
For sure. Totally. The Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast is brought to you by Briggs Auction, the official auction of the Ricky. I was going to try to tie the lottery into an auction, but they're completely different things. They're actually just completely different things. Briggs Auction is an auction house in Delaware County. It's been there for 4 decades. My wife and I drove by it the other day. Where were we? Because we drove by Booth's Corner, and then I was like, oh, there's Briggs. Anyway, they're an online auction house in Delco, but they put auctions on. Everything's online. So every week there's another auction. 500 items, 700 items, 1,000 items, a lot of them starting at $1, from art to collectibles to clothes to sports equipment to electronics and records and all that stuff. And it is a lot of fun. And I always say the same thing, but it is true. It is full of stuff you didn't know you needed until you saw it. CJ's Briggs Auction Item of the Week. And CJ, I'll preview this by saying this week's sale that ends on May 16th, I was looking at through it and thinking it was very CJ friendly this week's sale.
This was a very CJ friendly sale. My saved items is a very long list. Normally, my eye definitely, at least recently, has been going towards the furniture section. Like whenever I see anything that's mid-century modern, I'm saving it. But I need to remember my roots of my Briggs auction searching, and I have a few jackets here. Yeah. So this first one is the Mark Buchanan Pele jacket. We have a
looking like Ryan Gosling in Drive.
Yeah, that's right. I never really loved leather jackets until I started to like get into the motorcycle world and learned about all the benefits of wearing leather for protection, of course. But this just looks sick to me. It's got like the brown accents on the side for my audio listeners out there.
It's very cool.
And then going over to the next one, we have a Bernard Hill suede jacket. This one's a little more modest, but you can wear this on a nice, after work drinks with coworkers situation.
Sure you could.
Yeah, sure you could.
A nice softer suede. And then to wrap it up for those cold winter months,
3 auction items.
We have a Scout Hunter Green suede coat with the fur on the inside.
Hello.
It's very nice. One of my favorite things about Briggs Auction is looking these items up online after to see
how much they're worth.
How much they're worth, like how much should I be bidding realistically if it's in my range. And a few of these, the Pele jacket, I couldn't even find this exact version, which is my favorite part. When it's like, oh, this I can't find this anywhere. This is only literally at Briggs Auction right now. Very cool.
And don't go through what I've gone through for weeks now is auction regret. There's a fucking watch. I'm still kicking myself for not getting it. You win an item. There's open pickup on Saturdays or by appointment during the week, or they can work with you on a shipper. If you have a bunch of stuff to sell to CJ, info@briggsauction.com. That is Briggs
Or just
Auction.
Contact CJ directly.
Yes.
Just give it to him.
The official auction of the process.
Let my boy win something, for God's sake.
Real quick before we get to lottery party stuff. So I'll frame this for you this way. It's the day after the lottery and I am feeling great. I'm at the Surfside Invitational. We're about to do the radio show and I'm like legitimately, and we got some voicemails to this end. You can hear the energy in people's voices.
Oh my God.
If you're one of our people, you're
the alternative would have been bad.
Would have been bad, but this is so good. And the way that I paint it before I get to this fucking piece of audio that made me want to jump out off a roof, the way I paint it is this. you get this pick, and all of a sudden, if Joel never plays again, Paul George never plays again, and you look and you say, we're going to start fresh with Jared McCain, the 3 pick, Tyrese Maxey, Justin Edwards. We have all of our picks but 1 and 2 Clippers picks. I'd be like, there's a start. There's a start, you know?
All of our picks but 2.
But 2? What's the other one?
OKC next year, which is now top 4 protected. And then 2 years after that, 2028, Brooklyn.
Oh, I forgot about the fucking Brooklyn pick.
But we get one from the Clippers, or maybe and a couple swaps.
Yep. So anyway, so we're getting ready to start the show, and Jack says to me, he says, "Did you see this Paul George clip?" And like, I swear, those words strangled my stomach and my heart.
PG
Like,
got booed a little bit at the lottery party too.
Every time they showed him on the lottery, people booed. Yeah. And that is telling, by the way.
It is.
It really is, because it puts him in a class with, like, Ben Simmons gets booed when he's on the screen. You know, Brian Colangelo gets booed. There's not a lot of our guys that get booed. Maybe
Horford.
Tobias.
I mean, during my Remorse Armageddon segment, there was a lot of booing, a lot of yelling at me, like not to do the things I was doing.
Don't do it. Yeah.
No. Like I was a wrestling heel. No, don't do it.
And Paul George is at least temporarily on that list.
Yeah.
This clip is insane that he would do this the day after the lottery when everybody's in a good mood. Go ahead, CJ, please play this clip with a very serious Ryan Clark.
Self-inflicted wound incoming.
Yes.
You took a break from podcasting. Why is it important to do it and bring it back now?
I'm not a person that run away from anything. You know what I mean? Like, my dad kind of instilled that you face your problems and you move on from it. It's there and it's gone. And the reason I took the hiatus was more so I wanted to get my body healthy. I wasn't mentally there in the time of where we were at, the team, me dealing with injuries. I wasn't in a space of being jolly and happy. And, you know, obviously we had topics and guests to talk with, but it wasn't much for me to talk about just because of where I was at. So now it's obviously the summer, my downtime. I'm training, focusing on my body. I did procedures to get ready for this next season and kind of just want to touch back with my fan base. It was important for us to kind of start this back up, to just give back to the people, man. That's what I always inspire to do, is kind of give back to the people.
He's giving it back to the people, Mike. I'm insulted as a fan, but also as a podcaster.
There's just no reason for an active NBA player to be doing anything I'm doing at any given time. We should have nothing in common whatsoever.
And truthfully, if doing your 1 hour podcast once a week is preventing you from getting your body right,
you don't think he's editing it?
Well,
you don't think he's getting the graphics together?
I do a whole other fucking job. What are you talking about? Anyway, and
also,
this day,
go to a food bank. Go volunteer. Go find people that need help. Don't podcast for the people.
The people want you to shut the fuck up. Like, especially everybody, the one day that we're all happy over the last 6 months, in comes Mr. 50 million saying that he got a couple procedures. I feel like I was listening to the guys in Step Brothers talking about that they have activities. I got a couple procedures. I'm going to be fine. And Ryan Clark just always so fucking over serious. And tell us why you had to bring this back. You didn't.
Why now?
And also, you didn't even have to announce that you were bringing it back. You could have just done it.
I don't know, man.
I don't
know.
He's horrible.
I really believe strictly on court that he is going to have a much better season this year.
Maybe somewhere else.
But it's just the self-inflicted wounds that Paul George gives himself. I don't know why he does it. You could just chill. It is relatively equivalent to Doc Rivers saying something like, you have to get a 3-1 lead to blow it.
Yep.
Or Ben Simmons when he was posting those summer workout videos of him shooting jumpers in an empty gym or in a bit. No, it wasn't even an empty gym. Just shooting jumpers that he would never do on the court. You just don't have to do it. These are things that you don't have to do, and you're just making people mad under the idea of like this is going to help.
Yes,
you don't have to.
It's an enormous own goal,
but it also doesn't bother me that much. I like that it bothers you. I'm glad one of us has to be not as bothered. But
it's just like
you for this one.
It ruined my whole fucking vibe. I was just like,
did it ruin it?
Yeah, because for the hour, I was just like, I was having so much fun forgetting about you, and I haven't even been that negative on Paul George at all. But like, I hate when people are tone deaf, and like. I thought the answer, and when you watched Live Ricky 6 and Gershon Yabusele, like the difference between, like the fact that Gershon Yabusele was at the Eagles game and Paul George didn't even remember that the Eagles game was happening and trying to drive on Broad Street. Like
funny answer from Yabusele.
There it is. Show. Yeah, there it is.
The other thing that I want to, the Paul George situation is what it is. Embiid and Paul George's contract, sizable. No matter what, you're going to have to attach something to them at this point to get off of them. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that to get off of them, to have to attach pick or picks to move someone that I still think could be very good in the NBA.
Now, by the way, it only takes one team, which is why I say not to rule out the trade of either of them, because it only takes one team to offer something that nobody else will.
Sure.
Is all I would say.
But I think Jason Tatum tears his Achilles the night of the lottery party.
There it is.
I'm watching it with some friends at the at Yards Brew House down the street from the lottery party, and some people from the show were still there that came. Took some pictures, kissed some babies. And then Tatum tears his ACL. So sad, bummer for him. And the Celtics are down 3-1. They're up in the third quarter. But we will see. The Celtics are not. First of all, I'm probably gonna be right about the Knicks winning this series. Vegas set the odds incredibly weirdly, and I'm happy to benefit from that.
Celtics are up 13 in the third, by the way.
Yeah.
What a story, by the way, from a take perspective, if the Celtics came back and won this series without
for
Tatum.
sure.
Oh, my God.
But he's going to be out all next season.
Yeah.
The East is wide open. The Cavs, who I am sad about, I'm pretty bummed about the Cavs. I've always liked the Pacers. I've always been a Halliburton guy. The fact that he made the conference finals back-to-back years is good for me. But I am bummed that the Cavs had such a good season and that they didn't get to succeed in the playoffs and prove that they were really good all season, and it just through injuries and like poor play for sure, they didn't get there. So that makes me sad for the NBA for the regular season. It would have been cool to see them do that. It's open. It is open. It is wide open. And Daryl was the executive when the Warriors were running things, and everybody was just like getting out of their way in the mid to late 2010s.
He went for it.
Daryl went for it. He did not stop thinking that challenging the Warriors was the right thing to do. He wasn't like saying, okay, let's rebuild. Let's wait until this run is over, whatever. I don't think that Daryl is going to like trade Paul George for picks or trade Embiid for expirings and picks and just get out of the way and start the rebuild now. I think they're going to go for it. I think they're going to say all we need is, what happened this season, which didn't happen at all. But like, if we can survive the times when Embiid's not there, all we need is a good luck in injury wise for April, May, June, and then they're in the conference finals because the East is not going to be that good.
Well, by the way,
that's the task. I'm not saying that you move 3 for like a low level role player and that's it. But I do think that part of the calculus is the fact that you have an opportunity this year with the East as open as it is, and they should go for it, because I don't think, this is again my opinion about what's there at 3, unless it's Dylan Harper. I don't think Maxey, McCain, anybody is ever going to be a championship team.
No,
Maxie McCain, number 3, to me, you're still like looking for
the best player,
a number 1 type guy.
Yeah.
And so with that being the case, the years of Joel and Paul George usefulness that they have left, I think it's still, considering what the East looks like, I think it's still most likely that the next year or two is the time that you have to go for it. And so don't like punt on the future, but you can also try to go for it. And I think that they should probably try to go for it because they can do that while still maintaining the future as it is.
By the way, as proof that we're back, you said that we got this voicemail, by the way.
Hey, this is Gene from Lancaster, and I'm just glowing after the lottery last night. Obviously, a huge win. And I'm looking, because I've also been watching a lot more of the playoffs this year, at least with the other teams. Other years, I've always been so focused on the Sixers.
Yep.
And I'm looking at the landscape. I know this is getting ahead of things, but I don't see a world where Cleveland, Boston, or New York is better next year. I think Detroit can obviously make a jump. Orlando can make a jump. I'm not by any means saying that the Sixers have like a good road to the finals or anything like that, but I'm at least excited for the first time in like 6 months. I'm excited looking at the East and looking at the Sixers are, and I got hope again. I don't know, but I'm sure you guys know, a lot of Sixers fans are the same way. But I just, looking at the landscape, I'm excited for next year. So I'm curious what other people think about this. All right, thank you.
There you go. Everybody talking themselves into the East not being so hard next year. I have one other more point to add to what you said after we talk about Ethos Support, the newest partner of the Rights Ricky Sanchez podcast. They sponsored the human sacrifice there. Blair and Brandon from Ethos Support were there. They're very happy with all the ping pong balls and the faux murder that we had up on stage.
My friend Taylor was like, do they know? Are they okay with this?
Yes.
That they sponsored this segment? And I was like, yeah, I think this is what they want. I think this is what they're here for.
Yeah, they were in the front row. I mean, they came here from Austin to witness it, and they were on cloud 9 afterwards. So
amazing.
Yeah, they're very happy with it. Ethos Support is going, if you have a business or if you own a business, you even work for a business where you make decisions like this, they're going to help make sure that the customer support that your business provides is not just good enough, but is good enough to make people an advocate for your company, because that's what good customer support can do. Everybody wants a good product, but if you have good product and bad customer support, then people are not going to advocate. Because most of the time, when they come to you for support, whether it's at night, whether it's on the weekend, it's because something is wrong and they want the problem solved. And if you do not have support, whether it's email, whether it's online chat, whether it's social media, whether it's phone, that can get people to the answer, it's the most frustrating thing in the world. And it doesn't matter how good your product is, people aren't going to like your company. So Ethos Support can help source your customer service. Here's what you do. You go to ethossupport.com/Ricky, or call or text Blair, who is at the lottery party, at 240-593-2485. That is his personal cell. He has it on him right now. You can text him right now and he will answer you. 240-593-2485 or ethossupport.com/Ricky. What they will do is not just get somebody who will respond to your customer support questions, but respond the way that you want, in a way that is helpful. They will find the people for you. They will train the people for you. They will work with you about what is important to the people who are servicing your customers, and they will put it together in as little as 2 weeks. So from the point that you call them to the point that your customer support is up and ready, 2 weeks. And they're not even going to make you sign a contract. If you don't like it, you're not happy with it, you can just walk away. Ethos Support realizes that customer support is the backbone of any public-facing company. And you should have not good enough. Your email address on the website is not good enough. A phone number that rings and rings and rings or goes to an answering service is not good enough. Great customer support is what you should have. ethossupport.com/Ricky. You brought up Daryl and going for it when the Warriors were there. One other interesting thing to bring up about Daryl and the current situation we're in is he also pivoted from the Yao Ming era Rockets. And that was a center who was dominant, who could no longer play because of injury. And what he did was that team never bottomed out. They never tanked. They had some okay years in the middle. And through trades and good signings and sort of work at the margins, brought that team back to being that hardened team that you talk about. Yeah. And I think it is worth noting that he has been, I understand that the negative perception about Daryl Morey right now currently, but I think if you go back and look at his history, you will see that he has navigated difficult situations very well in the past, and this is potentially a difficult situation. So whether it's Embiid is back next year and they win 53 games and they're competing for the East, or it's a situation where they're trying to bridge the gap between two eras, I think he has done a lot of both.
I think there's a really logical way to look at this and go like, are the odds that Embiid is healthy for several years or healthy enough to play like his high level basketball in the playoffs? Those aren't great odds. No one's saying that they're perfect odds. No one's saying like that's definitely going to happen. But there's a chance that he comes back and is healthier and has, due to the players around him, less taxing on his body. And fingers crossed we fucking get lucky for once.
Yeah. We just got lucky. Well, lucky for twice.
They also don't. I do think Paul George will at least shoot better next year. Like for sure, his defense was better than maybe we would have expected at his age. But like he's just got to hit shots, and he fucking didn't. And he also wasn't getting to the rim. Hopefully the several procedures, just a handful of procedures he had done, fixed some stuff. But there's no way he doesn't shoot there's no way he shoots as bad next year as he did this year. Clip that and also delete it if I'm wrong.
Cut it from the pod.
But they don't own their pick this year. So they would have to jump again into the top 4 in order to, like, if you're saying like just trade them both and let's rebuild. You're giving if you rebuild and it's saying like, okay, it's Maxey McCain, Quentin Grimes, whatever. That's probably then giving like an 8th overall pick or whatever to the Thunder.
To the Thunder. Yeah,
there's no reason.
This is a year that you try.
This is the year you try. Last year was really bad taste in your mouth. You don't want to show Maxey and McCain like here's another losing season. Like they'll ask out. Like you don't want that. You got to go for it this year. You got to give yourself a shot in case you do get lucky on Paul George and Embiid injury health, and then once those guys are closer to having an expiring contract, they will either expire or make it easier to trade an expiring contract for something that is not like paying for like years of $55-60 million for somebody else to eat that money and all that cap space. So luckily by that point, which is 2028, they will then have a surplus of picks because of what they're getting from the Clippers. And then you could talk about, okay, let's see if we can trade those picks with Embiid or Paul George's expiring contract for a superstar player that asks out. We send them the Godfather offer. And then all of a sudden, whoever it is, that our Kawhi Leonard at that time, then becomes the centerpiece of a team with whoever's still here, Maxey, McCain, Grimes, whatever, that kind of thing. So they just got to go for it this year. The East is open. Embiid and Paul George are here anyway. You're not trading them. You're not like, I would never send stuff with Embiid to get off it. The whole fucking reason why we were sweating our balls off the other night was because they sent stuff with Horford to Oklahoma City. And then you just want to do that again? I don't want to do that again.
And then watch Joel Embiid win a championship like we watched Al Horford win a championship?
That would be insane. That would drive me insane. That would drive me insane to a level of I don't think I would ever recover from. If they trade Embiid and like picks, and then he goes to Oklahoma City and is dominant and just like does exactly what they want him to do. And he's like, how is he healthy? It's happening. I just can't deal with it. I'd rather him be, honestly, and this is maybe selfish and psychotic on one hand, but like I can't live with Embiid succeeding on another team and not succeeding here. I don't think I can live with it. Maybe that makes me
tough. It'd be pretty tough for all.
Maybe that makes me a bad person. I want him to be here. I want to wring every possibility of him succeeding here because he's already signed to it, and the alternative is not great. So there's a lot of options. There's a lot of possibilities. The East is open. Daryl's going to go for it. I don't think they're just going to stick at 3 and say like, well, we just happen to take it. I think they're going to trade down and get something, or they package it to get somebody else that also feels still young enough on the younger timeline. But this idea of, like we just got to get, they're not on the right timeline. The Spurs can't get Giannis because he's not on Wembanyama's timeline. It's like Wembanyama right now is like a top 10, 15 player in the NBA. Just go try to win a championship. Like right now, it doesn't matter that they're like 8 to 10 years apart. Like there's going to be multiple people coming in and out on those timelines. So I think there's the problem that the Warriors did in the 2 timelines thing was not being
drafting James Wiseman.
It was drafting James Wiseman.
Yeah.
That was the problem.
Yeah.
That it wasn't like. And apparently they tried to trade the pick, which I'm sure they did, and they didn't find anything that was worthwhile doing, so whatever. But they drafted the wrong guy. It wasn't the idea of, hey, our team is pretty old. We could also get younger and have like the next generation in there. It was the idea of like you just drafted a guy who is now basically not in the league. Like the problem with the process wasn't like, oh, you should never be bad. It was like Okafor was a bad pick. Had they drafted somebody better than Okafor, then like Porzingis, for example, then maybe Hinkie would have been there for longer. Maybe they would have succeeded for more. Like but that's the problem is that like when you take a bunch of bites at the apple, some of those bites are going to turn out to be poison. Is that it? Is that the phrase? But yeah, anyway, I think the Sixers, I'm not saying it's going to go perfectly, but they should draft whoever they think is best. They should pick up some assets if they think that they're the best, and they should try to go for it this year because they have Maxey and McCain are ready to at least contribute. Obviously, in Maxey's obvious case, there's no reason to bench them both. You know, you wouldn't bench them both so you can play like, I don't know, if you had Ron Holland, you would be like, we gotta trade them so we can play this. There's nobody else to play. They're gonna play those guys. If everybody's healthy, they win some games. Let's go for it. Let's be better. I want to be better. We gotta pick. Let's go.
I don't understand the Ron Holland part. I didn't understand.
Well, I was saying like if we had like a young guy that needed minutes and you just you want him to work through his problems. Right. Basically. Right. That's what I'm saying. Which if they drafted Ace Bailey, maybe you wanted to, but I just don't. I mean, some people like him. I understand that. Not for me.
So thank you to everybody who came out to the lottery party on Monday. It was awesome. It will be live on YouTube premiere, thanks to MortgageCS on Monday night, this coming Monday. We'll tell you the time coming up. Just a couple of, we haven't seen the video yet, but there's been a lot of videos online of the reaction. CJ, could you just play one of them? Mike, I don't know if you've watched many of these. They are outrageous. Here's a good one. This is a good one.
The top 4. So they make the jump, and suddenly Jared McCain is driving the roller coaster. The Sixers are in the top 4. The 5th pick.
Here, hit another one. There's one that was taken by the Ariel. I'm sorry, I forget her last name, from the Inquirer. That is like far away. I don't think that's who posted it. It's like from straight on from the back. Oh yeah, this one's great.
Pick number 7, made by.
It's just so fucking wild, dude. And here's 6. You look at that. I'm so psyched to see the actual video now. So, now one thing. I want to play the Nagandi clip here, Mike.
It was thrilling, dude. It was thrilling that they got it. It really was like, the lottery happens so fast. You always forget how fast it is. You almost want them just like, hey, just take a second.
Can you take a commercial in between picks or something? I'm not ready for the next one.
Yeah, like do like 3 picks at a time. Let's just like everybody catch their breath. Okay, we're not there. All right, nothing bad yet. But like, man, it comes fast and quick, and you're just like, oh, this is the rest of our life.
Yep.
This is the rest of our life right now, what it's going to be. And it would have been so bad. The party would have been so bad. everything would feel so bad. You can't argue with math, but like it really would have made everything feel like a complete waste of time.
Way worse. Yes. Thank you, the Franklin Music Hall. Everybody over there, Tony and Nick, Rich from UA, who is like my support, the emotional support guy there.
Love Rich.
Rich is the greatest, and he actually. So I kept asking about, like, are you sure you guys are going to be able to put ESPN on the screen? And because I have PTSD from other events where I asked to put something up, and they're like, "Oh, we don't have that channel," and that is my nightmare of that night. So I asked him like twice beforehand. He's like, "Everything will be fine." I find out. I guess he told me afterwards that I guess 2 minutes before doors open, they were like, we can't get ESPN to work. And he never told me. And they solved the problem. So God bless everybody at Franklin Music Hall. Our sponsors, of course, thank you to Tim Hawes, who is a great performance of Imagine the Process.
Great guy.
Professor the Jack, who we'll get to in a second. Mark, who sacrificed himself.
Yes, little brother Mark.
Cindy Webster, our VIP coordinator.
Always Cindy, hell yeah.
Gershon Yabusele.
Cindy had some great earrings on, great basketball earrings.
And her boots were so loud that as she walked through the room when we were doing the radio show, it was literally the only thing you could hear.
That's good.
She had great boots. Pablo Torre, our special guest.
But very special guest. He had a great time. I think he was truly touched and surprised by the Process Hall of Fame induction.
Yeah, he seemed like he was a little misty-eyed almost, a little bit.
Look, you don't see yourself on that kind of fabric very often, hanging from the rafters as people chant your name. Just it's not an experience most people have.
Yeah, and by the way, Yabusele, you could tell, was blown away by everything.
There was a video that Cindy did you see this? Cindy took a video of him from the back.
Oh yeah, well, like watching through a hole.
Yeah, he's like peeking through the hole. I think it was maybe during my thing. He was like, people are really into that. Like it's gonna be fun. Like he was like a little kid. It was very sweet.
Thanks to the official poet laureate of the process, Mia Kong, for her poem about Jared McCain.
Love Mia,
Jack.
very sweet.
Yep. Mia's great. Ike and Jack for coming up. Justin, who ran the AV and only screwed up once, and Shibe for selling our merch. And by the way, if you want any of the Lottery Party merch, we'll put the link in the description here. And CJ, go on up on the screen for a second. I want to thank CJ in front of everybody. CJ was tasked with everything I would normally freak out about. I had to do the radio show, so I couldn't freak out. So CJ had a very long list of things to make sure that we're working properly, and he did all of them. And it was you did an excellent job, CJ. So
the best.
Yeah,
thank you. And I just want to say thank you again to everyone you just listed. Everyone was so incredibly nice and answered every question that we had throughout the day. So
yeah, it was awesome.
CJ, do you also want to thank my parents for putting those posters together?
Yes, thank you. I was not expecting to delegate those tasks to them. I was going to be the one to roll the posters, but they volunteered and I denied, and then they volunteered again.
They just can't help themselves. My dad was making the tubes. He was like, my hand hurts from smashing those tubes.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know why you did it. But they just can't. They just want to be useful. They like to be useful.
They saved me a lot of time, and I'm very appreciative of that.
Yeah. So I want to play this Kevin Nagandi thing. So during the broadcast, Kevin Nagandi basically said that this is what happened on the broadcast.
The Toronto Raptors.
That means the Spurs are in the top 4 with 2 teams jumping into the top 4. That means the Sixers will lose their pick to the Thunder because it's outside the top 6.
In the NBA draft.
Jeremy McCain's eyes.
Face.
The Brooklyn Nets. Pick number 7 will be made by the New Orleans Pelicans.
Hell yeah. And so that's when we knew. Once it wasn't 7, you knew that it was a jump.
Now, so we got this voicemail about Nagandi.
Hey, I just need to move for an immediate banning of Kevin Nagandi for fucking up and saying that we were going to lose the pick. I hate this man. I don't care if he's a Philly fan. This is the only outlet for my anger. I'm very mad. Screw him. I wasn't at the lottery pottery because I couldn't get a ticket. Screw this man. That's it.
So we got this email from Jacob.
I don't think we should ban Kevin. Let's just say this.
Well, So Jacob says, I was at the lottery party Monday night. Huge thanks for putting that together. It was a blast. One part of the night that almost set things off the rails was Kevin Nagandi mistakenly saying the Sixers lost their pick during the early lottery. Total chaos potential. If it weren't for Professor Jack and his explainer beforehand, that moment could have been a disaster.
Right.
Thankfully, his lesson kept the faith alive, even though there were some murmurs in the crowd. Pretty minor in the grand scheme, but is this considered a what the fuck moment?
It's not. I wouldn't say it's. I'd say you can include it for this current season, not the future season. I think.
Well, no, we were saying off season.
Oh, off season.
Yeah,
okay.
I think it's an
then,
off-season
I guess you
what
have
the
to.
fuck
Yeah.
moment. Yeah.
But to
So
me,
did
it's like, look,
you didn't hear it, did you? I didn't hear anything on stage.
I could hear something, but I could. It was harder to hear on stage.
Yes.
And then watching the videos and hearing people, there was some murmuring, but I think for the most part, people knew like, no, they could still jump. It was not great, but it was still like possibility. And I do think that, look, so many people were texting me and posting online about it. Like the Sixers are going to lose the pick. Friggin' Michael Weber, friggin' John Gonzalez, just doomerism shit. Like they're going to lose it, by the way. It's going to go to the Thunder. Like as if they know everything. Like it's just, of course, like I'm so disaffected. I'm so fucking Gen X that like we're going to lose the pick and then we're going to fucking listen to Nirvana and it's like whatever. Cobain's dead is all going to be over anyway.
I'm
like,
a millennial. I can't capitalize any words. Blah, 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 blah.
I'm just saying, like, it was just like they were just being like, look, I'm negative all the time, but it was the certainty with which people were saying, like, of course they're going to lose the pick. Of course they were. And so I think Kevin was probably just tapping into the idea that probably the fucking Sixers are going to lose the pick. And that was his Sixers fandom showing, even if it was misguided. And I think he should be forgiven. We got the pick. All is well. Thumbs up. It's okay, Kevin. You're forgiven.
I don't want to ban him, but I do want to say something happens to Philly people when they become national people and they like overdo the Philliness and like the cliche ways. Like they talk about Wawa too much almost. And Kevin Nagandi has slipped into that in recent years. And you don't need to prove to everybody where you're from. I do not think he should be banned. But I also am not sure he's just such a big fan that he screwed it up. But I don't know. Whatever. Everybody makes mistakes. He didn't do it on purpose. Yeah, he fucked up.
And if you heard it, if you were not at the lottery party and if you didn't see Professor Jack and Coach Tom,
that's your fault.
And me telling you what to expect. Basically, if you don't see a Thunder logo 7 to 9, good news is coming. And you got to for a second think, oh fuck, we lost the pick. Then what a wonderful thing, merely 15 seconds later, that actually they didn't. So sometimes
everything works.
Sometimes it is darkest before the dawn.
Yeah.
And so he just gave you a little bit of darkness. And
it was
then
pretty dark. And then it was dawn. Yeah. Well, we've got a lot of fucking podcasts to do.
A lot
of podcasting, a lot of stuff. There's going to be a lot of rumors. It's going to be a lot of fun. We're back. We will be back with you Saturday morning as I do the pod from this guy Seth's house in Rehoboth because he bought a house from Kasabi and I said I would do it. So I'm driving down to Rehoboth on Saturday morning. That's where I'll do the pod from.
Things are really good, man. What a nice blessing that we have here.
Yep.
To save the franchise. Everything, David Robinson missed an entire year and they drafted fucking Tim Duncan and it set them on a path for the rest of their Spursiness. Hopefully
Wade missed a whole year. The Heat drafted Michael Beasley.
That's nice. I like Michael Beasley. And provided some joy to some people, but it's better than drafting no one at all.
That's a good point.
The hope is that last year was, or this year, as we're still living in it, was an absolute nightmare, dog shit, piece of shit, and they got something out of it. And I can and will convince myself that it was good for not only getting this pick, but also giving Maxey, Paul George, Joel Embiid, all these guys, Nick Nurse himself, Daryl even, some much-deserved humble pie, and also taxing their bodies less.
Well, don't
So
forget us too.
And us.
Yes.
I've had enough humble pie. I don't need any more of it. But my body is definitely fresher than it would be otherwise. And I feel like if this past season doesn't make Joel and Paul George go, and even Maxey to some extent, who came in thinking that he'd be a certain thing, that he'd be able to just kind of like coast and do his thing. He had a really rough season for a lot of the year. It doesn't make them go like, I got to fucking work harder and focus and commit and really do everything I can do to make sure my career, this is more for Joel and Paul George, isn't seen as like this what could have been. This is it. They don't have any more time left. It's going to be the two of them trying to make it work next year. If it doesn't happen, then it's never going to happen. So if that doesn't do it, at least they're like relatively fresh, or fresher than they would have been otherwise. We got some procedures. We got some lottery picks. We got some free agents coming back. I'm feeling good. Bad season, but this is what it's all about, Spike.
This is
bouncing back.
This is what we were born to do.
That's it.
Yes. The Ricky's back, baby.
We're back.
The second golden age. We'll talk to you this weekend. And that's all I got. Are you done with TTP?
Yeah. You know, lick face.